What's up, sports fans? My name is Jake and welcome back to Game Day Eats. This week in the NFL, the San Francisco 49ers are heading into Green Bay to challenge the Packers on Monday Night Football. And you may have noticed last week that I said we were heading to Atlanta, and obviously I was wrong because we are in Green Bay. That being said, you have no idea what we're making this week, so let's do an unveiling. This week we are making fries, cheese curds, and homemade marinara sauce. It is the land of cheese after all. Sit back and relax. This is Game Day Eats. So everyone liked how we just tackled the recipe first last week, so we're doing it again. For the batter, we're going to need 2 quarts of corn oil for frying, a 1/4 cup of milk, 1 cup all-purpose flour, 3/4 cup of beer, 1/2 teaspoon of salt, 2 eggs, 2 pounds of cheese curds broken apart. For the marinara, we're going to need 4 cups of tomatoes, either canned, diced and crushed, or fresh. I use 85% crushed and 15% diced to give it more of a sauce feel. 2 tablespoons extra virgin olive oil, 2 tablespoons of garlic minced, 1 teaspoon of fresh thyme chopped, 1 teaspoon of fresh basil chopped, 1 pinch of salt to taste, 1 pinch of red pepper flakes to taste. Questions have been swirling around the internet of why the Green Bay Packer fans wear cheese hats to games, and the simple answer is that Wisconsin is a cheese powerhouse. The state is the #1 cheese producer in America by producing 26% of the nation's cheese. Fun fact, if Wisconsin was its own country, it would be the 4th largest cheese producer in the world, behind Nestle and 2 other French companies that I can't pronounce. And now I get why people don't like to attempt my last name. So why is cheese such a big deal in Wisconsin? Well, it starts in the mid-1800s when European settlers founded the Midwestern states to have lands that make cows happy and produce a lot of milk. Since you need milk to make cheese, this was the best thing for them since sliced bread, which you can make a metric ton of grilled cheeses with. 100 years later, Wisconsin was called home to more than 1,500 cheese factories that produce more than 500 million pounds of cheese per year. That's 250,000 US tons or 111 space shuttles of cheese. And those shuttles would be needed because the moon is obviously made of cheese, and this is obviously how the world keeps the moon visible. In 2014, Wisconsin produced 2.9 billion pounds of cheese, which to me is completely unfathomable. Wisconsinites have taken and ran with the fact that their land is known for cheese, so much that they have taken the term cheesehead, which other NFL teams tried to use as an insult, as a term of endearment. They love it so much that they even molded the famous cheese hats and wear them to every Packers game, home or away. And now we know who the real heroes are: farmers and cheese hat makers. Our beer of choice comes from the brewery Leinenkugels. In May of 1867, the Leinenkugel family brewery was founded in Chippewa Falls, Wisconsin by Jacob Leinenkugel. I don't know how many times I can say the name in a row, but we're gonna keep going. Today, the 6th generation of Leinenkugels continue to brew some of the same family-inspired recipes from the past generations. And since we are officially in October, I figured we can go ahead and dive into a German-rooted Oktoberfest brew. The cheese is fried and so are my fingers. So let's go ahead and see how this marinara and beer battered cheese tastes. It's just so much lighter at home than what you would get at the bar. And now that we've had our taste of the Wisconsin food side, let's jump into the beer. Again, it's a very light flavor and it pairs very well with the light cheese curds. The food is eaten, it's football time. Our visiting team for this week's Monday Night Football is the San Francisco 49ers. They are a team that is looking very close to the very bad output of what they were producing last year, even when Jimmy Garoppolo was leading the offense early this season. New general manager John Lynch has been trying to play the role of former player turned executive to win a Super Bowl like John Elway in Denver and Ozzie Newsome in Baltimore, and it has not been turning out well so far. The 49ers even brought in cornerback Richard Sherman this offseason to spice up their very young secondary, and it seems not to be going their way. They are currently in the middle of the league for passing yards allowed, have given up 12 touchdowns, and only have 1 interception. Now they have faced veteran quarterbacks like Matthew Stafford and Phillip Rivers, which could be understandable why they don't have that many interceptions. But both quarterbacks are known to throw caution in the wind just as much as they throw the football. The 49ers also played Patrick Mahomes, who only just gave away his 1st and 2nd interception this past weekend to the Jacksonville Jaguars. So I'll give them that one. But they didn't have 1 interception from rookie quarterback Josh Rosen last week against the Cardinals. They have to do better. Our home team is the Green Bay Packers, and they are playing host to Monday Night Football for the 26th time since its inception in 1970. Aaron Rodgers and the company are trying to come back from a terrible loss to the Detroit Lions last week, where Mason Crosby missed 4 out of 5 field goals and an extra point. The one he made was just head coach Mike McCarthy giving sympathy to him. It kind of reminds me of when your parents were giving you a gift during your sibling's birthday party so that you didn't feel so bad and cause a tantrum. Most of the blame for the loss went to Crosby, but Rodgers himself didn't have such a hot game. Although being constantly under pressure because your offensive line's protection was weaker than that home-brewed lager your friend made doesn't help the situation. Both teams are not playing well, but the Packers have more on the line because they haven't been bad for as long as the 49ers have been. Both teams really miss having 2 Hall of Fame quarterbacks on their roster, and I can't blame them. This Packers team does have talent to go into the playoffs, but do they have the discipline? 2 wins in a row, and the last one was a blowout. And did you see it? I'm sure you saw it because Drew Brees was setting records and doing all sorts of things under the big lights. Now back to this sideshow that we have going on. I see the Packers taking down the 49ers by a score of 21-14 because of the fact that the 49ers old starter, new backup turned new starter quarterback CJ Beathard seems to be able to move the ball. Somewhat. Week 6 is deep fried, so make sure to stay in the loop and catch its new episode airing this Thursday. Subscribe and watch next week as we actually go back to the NFC South and head over to Atlanta where the Falcons play the Giants, we make fried chicken sliders, and hope that Odell Beckham Jr. doesn't hurt any more equipment on the sidelines. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the field.